Hi, this is Reg Athwal on Reg Athwal TV. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Book Videos. This is the one that I'm covering now. In the past, I've had different books that I've shared on Book Videos show around personal development, leadership, management, entrepreneurial areas. And this time I thought it'd be time to really get into nitty gritty of what it takes to build a successful family business. John L. Ward is a legend in our industry. This is a book that he authored back in 2004, and at that time already having 25 years experience working with family businesses around the world. He's a regular professor, lecturer at many leading business schools. He's also been the group professor of family business at IMD, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with IMD, and also co-director at the Kellogg School Center of Family Enterprises. So he's a real guru in our industry, supported me a lot with some of the books that he's published. And today we're going to do a deep dive into six key areas of the title of the book, Perpetuating the Family Business and 50 Lessons Learned from Long-Lasting Successful Families in Business. The book is full of rich content, so I'm not going to get a chance to go through everything in real detail. And the objective of these book videos is to just give you snippets, small golden nuggets from certain books, and to promote the author. You know, at the end of the day, you need to buy the book if you want to know more about the subject matter. So one of the things that he talks about, which I'm going to get stuck into straight away, is around this myth of how many family businesses succeed or fail in the world. And one of the comments that he's got here is that he's confronted a lot when it comes to this subject matter with fatalistic concepts of something called shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves. I don't know whether you've heard of that before. Shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves has been around along as a concept in the family business space, which is essentially the first generation build it, second generation continue to take it to the next stage, and the third generation end up destroying it. So when he talks about this, he's mentioning that where there is an inevitable natural set of laws that brought successful family business to their knees in the third generation, was the concept really true, or was it a conventional wisdom that didn't really hold up to examination? I wanted to believe the latter, but I kept bumping into people who warned, oh, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves. In fact, it's not a myth. It is unfortunately a reality. Only about 20% of family businesses last beyond 60 years in the same family. And those percentages have changed over the years with up-to-date research. Goes on to say, even that it's a reality, what makes it so? Why is shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves such a phenomenon in family businesses? When I raise the question with family business audiences, they suggest these answers. So listen very carefully to these 5 points that John L. Ward raises in his book, and get your opinions on what do you think of why family businesses end up failing. Number one, a company doesn't keep on top of the changing business environment. It becomes technologically obsolete, fails to recognize changing market needs, or outgrows the abilities of the incumbent management to lead it. So does that apply to you right now, maybe in your family business? Two, estate and death taxes strip and defeat the business. And that's changed a lot over the years when it comes to inheritance tax and other things that you need to be on top of depending on which country you're living in. Number three, the founder's successes, or successors I should say, are often ill-prepared, unmotivated, less interested in the business than their parents, and less hungry to get involved. So number three could lead to no succession plan in the future. For those of you who've got a family business and young children, are they interested in your family business in any way right now? Or already someone's sowing the seeds that they don't want to be involved in this in the future? Number four, as the family grows larger with each generation, different family members develop different interests, different values, different goals, different hopes, and different expectations. Conflicts develop and family members grow apart, sapping the business of energy, aligned goals, and commitment to continuity. And the last one, number 5, the environment created by one generation results in difficulties for the members of the next generation, hindering their ability to solve problems, exacerbating conflicts among them, or stifling them and making them so frustrated that they end up leaving. So those are 5 things to consider of, it's not a myth. There is a situation of shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves, and in John L. Ward's interpretation based on his research, get that in the camera properly, all right, is these are the 5 things that he's come up with based in research, and when this was published back in 2004. So the next bit I want to talk about briefly is when John Ward talks a little bit about his second insight. Family business issues are common and predictable, yet perspectives on the same issues will be different. And he says that it doesn't matter if the family business is American, European, Asian, African, it doesn't matter about religion, and whether your business is in wholesaling or manufacturing, software development, retailing, hospitality, or mining, you will share most of the same issues faced by other business-owned businesses. So he says such understanding gives a business family great power. It enables a family to realize A, we're not alone, B, we're not strange, and C, we can learn from others. And when a family knows that it's not alone and its concerns and is therefore not so odd after all, it gains the confidence it needs to go out in the world and secure the knowledge necessary to perpetuate its business for long-range benefit of generations to come. So these are a few things to consider. He goes on to say, what are some of the most common and predictable issues? He says, number 1, without a doubt, is succession. So pausing there, what's your succession plan? How much time have you taken to gain knowledge on how to go about putting together an effective succession plan for you and your family business? Other things he mentions about with the surveys that he completed is, how do I struggle with letting go? A lot of people have an issue of letting go. I remember working with a family business many years ago, and the chairman at the time struggled with letting go to the next generation with 3 of his sons. His question was, if I let go, what am I going to do? He says, work is my worship. I come here every day. I've been coming here for 35, 40 years. What am I meant to do? Succession planning takes time. It takes a lot of thought. You've got to get it right. And it can take a number of years until the right plan is embedded into the culture and into the system. The other one is, how do I choose a successor from among my children? How can I finance the transition of business ownership from myself to my children? So those are a few other things that are coming up from John Ward. Moving on from there, I want to get into just 3 really simple things he's got here later on in chapter 3, a vision for the future. And he said there's 3 stages. There's an evolution for every family business. And there's essentially 3 stages to consider. Number 1, stage 1 is an owner-managed business. Typically, ownership control is vested in one family member who leads the business. Stage 2 is sibling partnership. Ownership control is shared among 2 or more brothers or sisters. And stage 3 is cousin collaboration. Ownership control is spread amongst many family members in the next or succeeding generations. So those are just very quickly 3 things to consider. Where are you at? And the thing that you're doing at stage 1 is not going to apply to stage 2. Whatever you're doing at stage 2 is not going to apply at stage 3. These are all 3 different stages of evolution in a family business cycle. But what he does mention is to have the foundation right, to make sure you've got the right family values in place across those 3 stages, a good family vision across those 3 stages, ownership structure, and a sound business strategy is the fourth thing that he recommends. Moving on to another segment here. In his book, he's got 50 lessons that he's learned from working with family businesses. So again, I urge you to pick up a copy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, pick up a copy and make sure that you learn about these 50 lessons. So there's one he talks about here about essential from a business perspective is lesson one is social entrepreneurs. And I love this. The pace of business is so fast today that a new kind of leader is needed for family firms. Typically, a family business CEO leads a company for 20 or 30 years or more. In the most common pattern, an entrepreneur, often after much trial and error, hits upon an idea that clicks with a market opportunity. He or she builds that idea into a success and runs that with success until it peaks out. The business then goes into a long period of stagnation. If the business is lucky, the next generation leader comes along and creates a success all over again. In other words, the classic pattern of the family business that is able to grow from generation to generation is that a leader creates and grows one strategic success and then it stagnates. The next generation leader comes along and does the same thing again. Each generation then brings about its own strategic renewal. I love that. Its own strategic renewal. And this has to happen, from my own experiences with family businesses, to create a regeneration path. However, John says, this pattern no longer represents a viable model. A family business cannot endure an environment where competition is changing and intensifying at a tremendous pace unless it is led in a way that it can renew its strategy more often than it changes leaders. So this is not about changing strategy from one leadership generation to the next. What he's saying is there probably needs to be more frequency here because things are changing so quickly around the world. The head of a family business today must be able to lead an organization through 2 or 3 or 4 waves of strategic renewal during the 20-year or 30-year period that she or he is in charge. Such leaders are very rare. Wondering what characteristics people who can build multiple waves of strategic renewal in an organization, I sought such leaders out. I call them social entrepreneurs, because that's how several of them in our conversations refer to themselves. In my observation, social entrepreneurs share the following 4 traits. And I want to continue with this because I think it's a powerful area. It's only over a couple of pages in this book, but I think it's very powerful. If you manage to pick up a copy, you've got to read this entire chapter. So 1, they have incomparable mission. While they may have goals that are like growing the business 10% or increasing shareholder value from $40 to $60 a share, they are not motivated by such goals. They are driven by missions that force them to reach out into the future and to seek continuous improvement. They will never be self-satisfied because their mission can never be achieved. A typical mission of such leaders is to build an enduring institution, one that has the capacity to sustain itself and to maintain its excellence after the leader has long gone. 2, they believe they are the creators and developers of a philosophy of management. They are not as eager to talk about their products or their customers as they are to discuss their theories of management. They take personal responsibility for what goes wrong in the business. If there's a bickering between 2 departments, the social entrepreneur thinks, obviously, my management model is not yet perfect. What can I do to improve it? What can I do to improve it and take it to the next stage? Social entrepreneurs believe that in their philosophy of management, they are convinced that there are other institutions that could benefit from what they are willing to share. Again, the list goes, I'm not going to go through all of them. It's not fair for me to do so. Okay, I only want to give you a few inputs here, but they're active in the world of ideas is number 3 that he talks about. Number 4, social entrepreneurs see themselves as stewards of the business. And then the list goes on there with other lessons in the book. So have a think about that when it comes to social entrepreneurship and moving from one generation to the next. What are some things that you need to consider? Moving on, I want to talk a bit about what he calls a family code. That family code could be like a charter, a philosophy, a set of principles. And one of the samples he's got in his book is he talks about the 6 C's, which is an example potentially from a client he's worked with, called a family code. In this case, the family had articulated 6 C's that essentially govern them. It's like a code. Number 1 is around cash. How will they manage liquidity and what's important to them? Number 2, communication. 4 or 5 paragraphs here talking about how to effectively communicate in a family environment. Criticism, that it's okay to criticize each other, but not attack the person. Commitment, what does commitment mean for this particular family? And it's well documented. Compassion, how does compassion show up for this family? And giving each other credit. Being humble. And sharing with each other. So I won't go through all of it, but it's there. It's documented there. You can see that you can just about see there the 6 C's of a family code. Okay, so it's worth considering. What's your code? What's your family code? What's your charter? What are your philosophies? What are your guiding principles? These are things to maybe consider for the future for your family business. The other thing that he's got here in later on page 113, he talks about the cousin collaboration. And one of the lessons, lesson 34, is around family meetings. One of the key things that successful, long-lasting, business-owning families do is hold the family together by having family meetings. Typically from one to 3 times a year. Distinct from management meetings and shareholder meetings, which are centered on the business. Family meetings focus on the interest of the family. That's all I'm going to say there. I've been doing for many years with my family, at least 2, sometimes even 3 times a year, small mini family meetings. We call it a family forum, which could last 2 days and get the whole family together. There's a proper agenda. There'll be activities that happen during the day. It's not like a vacation. These are proper family forums and family meetings. So see if there's an opportunity where you can get your family. If you want more help, reach out to me. Also, make sure that you go down to the bio section so there's a link to John L. Ward's website and his company, and you can learn more about these things. The last thing I want to leave you with, and I'm done on this book videos episode, is at the end of the book, he's got many tools and appendix sections there. One of them is a family business checklist. He has over 50 things listed here, or a quick yes or no checklist. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to pick a few out very quickly and ask yourself yes or no with your family business. Is there a mandatory retirement age for all executives, especially the owners? Yes or no? Does the business have an independent outside board of directors? Yes or no? Does the family get together regularly for fun, not just for business reasons? Yes or no? Are family owners actively learning about the field of family business? Yes or no? Do family members live modestly beneath their financial needs? Yes or no? Does the family generously give back to the community to build social goodwill? Yes or no? Does the family accept that the family members are qualified to work in the business? Yes or no? Does the family have an identified family leader? Yes or no? Does the company have a formal dividend policy that pays out according to profitability? Yes or no? Does the family provide education to the next generation on the rights and responsibilities of ownership? Yes or no? Does the family have a policy on how best to address family members who may be in financial need? Yes or no? I'll take one more. Does the owning family belief in having family continuity planning process? Does the owning family believe in having a family continuity planning process. So those are a few things to consider. John L. Ward, I should say, is the author. Perpetuating the Family Business, 50 Lessons Learned from Long-Lasting Successful Families in Business. I'll make sure that in the bio you've got the publisher's details. Go to Amazon as well. Go to your local bookshop, see if you can pick up a copy and learn about all of the 50 lessons that he's got in his book. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video, inspire other family business and entrepreneurs out there who want to have family unity, harmony, and grow their family businesses. And don't forget to leave your comments. If you've read the book or read the book in the future, come back, leave your comments, and see you next time on Book Videos. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.